Great, thank you. Hello, everyone. Deanna Phelan here, President of the New Brunswick Equestrian Association. Welcome to those of you joining us from by Zoom or by Facebook. And also from Prince Edward Island, happy to have the coordinators for English and Western coaching, Maureen and Valerie. Thanks for joining us again and sharing the information to Prince Edward Island. Again, we're pleased to be joined this evening with Danielle Yaghdjian from Pickering, Ontario. The Nbea is happy to be almost like Danielle's our mentor when it comes to the provincial sport office, trying to help us and also obviously help our coaching community navigate the coaching pathway. So I'm happy to be able to have her giving us some direction. Again, much like last week, in case you didn't join us, a little bit of housekeeping. We're going to take questions at the end, and we'll ask you to send those through the chat, and Nancy can ask those questions. This session is being videoed or taped, I should say, so you'll be able to pull it up for future reference. Also, if you've contacted Nancy through Zoom, you will get your professional development points, 1.5 hours for joining us this evening. And yeah, other than that, thanks for attending, and we'll turn it over to Danielle. Welcome.
Excellent. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for attending tonight. You'll have to excuse me. I am in the process of losing my voice. Hopefully, it'll stay with me for the next hour while I do this presentation. We are asking that if anyone has any questions as I'm going through the presentations, you can either hold off on them until the very end, or you can add your question in the chat. And then I believe Nancy's going to keep track of those questions so that we make sure at the end that we follow up with them. Okay, Nancy, if you want to open the PowerPoint. Okay, so today's session is moving up the ladder, so taking your coaching certification to the next level. The idea of today's session is for coaches that are already certified in any of the contexts within Equestrian Canada that are interested in either moving up to a different context, or they want to know where they stand right now within the coaching system. If there's anyone on the call today that is not certified right now, you're still going to get a lot out of it, because I am going to go through the whole process of certification as it applies right now with Equestrian Canada standards. Okay, slide. So why get certified as a coach? Certification demonstrates that the individual is professional and accountable, able to adhere to the established standards of ethics and the EC Code of Conduct. The coaching program is formatted to develop skills of planning, equestrian knowledge, and technical competency. It provides a standardized, inclusive, and safe sport education to coaches. Equestrian Canada certified coaches are recognized for achieving a standard of coaching skills that provides potential clients with nationally recognized measures of skills, rather than just relying on the word of mouth. With certification, instructors become part of a national and provincial community of coaches that can access programs, continuing education, and funding opportunities. Obtaining a certificate is an important lifetime achievement. Okay, slide. So these are the coaching contexts that are available right now through Equestrian Canada. We have our instructor, which is the disciplines that we have for our instructors is Western, English, driving, and saddle seat. Then we also have an English instructor with jumping. We have our competition coach certification in both Western and English that's available. And then from there, you have your competition coach specialist certification. So this is where you specialize in a specific discipline. And we have that available for dressage, eventing, jumping, general performance, reining, and speed. And then of course, we have our high performance one certification, and that is available for dressage, eventing, jumping, and reining. And as we progress through this PowerPoint, I'm going to go into more details of all the outcomes and criteria that is needed for each of those contexts. Okay, you can slide, you can go to the next one. So this is the National Coaching Certification Program model. The Equestrian Canada coaching contexts are streamlined through this model. This is the model that all sports in Canada must follow. And so it's not just equestrian that has to follow these streams and contexts within the Nccp model, but soccer does the same, football, every other sport in Canada has to do the same. It is comprised of 3 coaching streams. So you're going to see there's the community sport, which is the green stream to the left. Then we have our competition stream, just the blue. And then we have our instruction stream, which is falls under the orange one. So the community sports stream is designed to help participants of any age learn to play and have fun. The competition stream develops competitive abilities in their own sport. And the instruction stream primary goal is to teach sport-specific skills to their participants. Okay, slide. So here you can see where Equestrian Canada coaching contexts fall in the NCCP model. You're going to see to the left of the community sport, the green stream, that Equestrian Canada doesn't have any coaching streams within that. So that doesn't apply to us right now. But if you go to the right for the instructor streams, you're going to see where we fall there. So we got the, I'm not sure if you can like make it a little bit larger at all, but it starts with in training. So any instructor in training is someone that's done any NCCP training leading into their certification. So if you've done an NCCP workshop, if you've done make it headway in sport, if you've done plan of practice, anything like that, right away you're considered a trained instructor. So you're not certified, but you're trained, you're in training. From there, you become certified. That's when you actually do an evaluation and you are evaluated on your teaching skills. If you pass that, you become a certified instructor. And then the one above that, which is advanced instructor, is being developed right now with Equestrian Canada. So the idea is that anyone that is a certified instructor for jump right now will have the opportunity to move up a stream to an advanced instructor. The idea is that the advanced instructor will be the ones that will be mentoring and helping the younger instructors come through the coaching process because their goals are pretty much similar. So they teach the same level of student. And so it's a good model for them to follow that way. Then if you go into the blue stream, which is the competition, you're going to see that where comp coach and comp coach specialist stays under the introduction part of competition. So it's to the left. So again, training means that they've done any kind of NCCP certification. Certified is when they get their comp coach. And then an advanced comp coach is a comp coach specialist. Okay, so right now, in order to become a comp coach specialist, you do have to become a comp coach first. It is part of that stream. And then the comp develop, that is where we are in our high performance. So again, when you're trained, you've done the NCCP training. And then once you've done your certification, you become a high performance 1 coach. And again, I'm going to go a little bit more into that as we progress through this PowerPoint. Okay, slide. So pathway to coaching certification. So this just pinpoints all the steps that you need to do in order to get certification, or even to update your certification if you're already certified and you're not updated. I'm going to go again into more detail as we progress through this PowerPoint. But the first thing you need to do is you need to make sure you have an Nbea membership in good standing. Then you need to hold an active EC sport license in good standing, so also known as their membership. Then you need to contact the Nbea to declare your interest and put yourself on the contact list for available training. Then you need to achieve discipline-specific prerequisites, which we will go into more detail later on. You need to attend available preparation and education courses. Then you need to complete the Making Ethical Decisions online evaluation. You need to hold an active registered coach status in good standing. If you're already certified, you could also be a licensed coach status. And then if you're not certified, you would need to then complete your evaluation. Okay, slide. So these are the fees for the PTSO membership for New Brunswick. So the adult membership is $60. Junior membership is $50. And then a family member, which is 1 adult and 1 other, is $100. And then we have our Equestrian Canada sport license. So the bronze license is $32, the silver license $112, and the gold is 187. And you'll notice to the side that we have how this applies to the coach status. So, excuse me, sorry, I might be coughing occasionally. For a bronze license, you need that to apply or to obtain a coach status. The silver license, you need that to apply or maintain as an EC certified coach in any of the contexts. And the gold license is if you're going to be a high performance one. Okay, slide. Excuse me. Step 3 is contact the Nbea and just let them know that you're interested in either becoming a certified coach, or if you're already certified but you had let it lapse, you can let them know that you're interested in maybe catching up on all the requirements that you need to have in order to have your certification live again. Okay. So we have our, sorry, go back, I didn't introduce you guys. And so we have our English coaching manager, and that is Nicole. And then we have our Western coaching manager, which is Cindy. And there's Cindy waving. Okay, slide. Step 4, admission prerequisites for instructor. So an instructor must be at least 16 years of age or have their application signed by a parent or legal guardian. And they must have learned to write English Writer 6 or Western Level 4, or they can also have a Pony Club C2. Slide. Comp coach admission requirements must be at least 18 years of age. They must achieve the Learn to Write English Level 8 or Pony Club B, and they need to have a Western Level 4 and Intermediate Writer basic training. Comp coach specialist admission requirements. So as of April 2021, as I said before, to become a comp coach specialist, you must go through the comp coach certification first. So comp coach specialist, you must be 20 years of age. You must have a minimum level of experience producing athletes to meet or exceed set performance levels as indicated in the following table, and currently coach athletes at the following performance levels on the following table as well.
And I don't think we have the table. Oh,
Okay.
yes, we do.
Oh, yeah, we do.
There you
There we
go.
go. Yeah. So it will take me a while, I think, because there's a couple of pages of this. But I'm going to give you a minute to read this over. So this is for the dressage, eventing, and jumping. So you'll see that all of them has to have at least 2 years of coaching experience. But for the other, showing experience, maybe take a second to read the discipline that you fall under. Okay, and then we can always come back to this later on if anyone that has any questions. Okay, next slide. And then these are the Western disciplines. So again, they all have to have at least 2 years of coaching experience, and then take a second to read what show achievements you need to have for those specific contexts. Okay, you can move on to the next slide. Okay, high performance coach candidates. So anyone that's interested in becoming a high performance coach or moving up the ladder to a high performance coach, we're asking that you contact the Nbea. High performance is mainly organized through Equestrian Canada. So it's actually usually Equestrian Canada that organizes and arranges those evaluations. But the Nbea, they can help you with the outcomes and coaching requirements for the high performance and let you know what you need to do to get there. Okay. Okay, so step 5, preparation and education. So at every level of coaching certification, there are several opportunities for training through the Nccp, Equestrian Canada, and New Brunswick Equestrian Association. There's multi-sport and sport-specific training. It's highly recommended to prepare, and it will improve your skills as a coach candidate. Okay, slide. So we're going to go over all the educational courses that are available. There is quite a few. So these are the ones that are available through the National Coaching Association. It's all online training. And so it's all done by through the computer. The first one is Making Headway in Sport. Making Headway is a concussion training. That is a mandatory training that has to be done in order to have an EC status, as well as your coaching certification. The second one is Making Ethical Decisions. That is a 4-hour online module. And then after you've done that online module, you do have to do an online evaluation. The evaluation is required, so that is mandatory, but the actual training, the 4-hour module, is not mandatory. Then we have our basic mental skills, which is a 4-hour workshop. And we have our teaching and learning, which is a 2.5-hour workshop. And all of these can be found on the NCCP website, which is coach.ca. Okay, slide. And then these are the ones that are available on eCampus. So again, it's online training, but this time you can go to the Equestrian Canada website for this under eCampus. We have our long-term equestrian development, which is a 2-hour module. Plan and equestrian practice that includes the emergency action plan. That is a 7.5-hour module. Design an equestrian sport program, which is 8 hours. Manage an equestrian sport program, which is 4 hours, and the analyze performance, which is 4 hours. One thing to say is is that these modules, it's the 8 hours and the 7.5 hours, aren't over one day. We do 2-hour modules over 3 to 4 days. And so you're not in the front of the computer for 8 hours straight. It's 2 hours. Usually it's about for 3 to 4 weeks in a row. Okay. And then these are available through the New Brunswick Equestrian Association, and these are in class, so in person. There's the plan and equestrian practice, which is 4 hours. Your teaching and learning, which is 4 hours. Analyze performance, which is 4 hours. The coaching prep clinic is 8 hours and is strongly recommended. And that is when you would actually go to a facility and you would have the opportunity to teach in front of a coach developer, an evaluator, and get some feedback so that you know what you are doing that meets EC requirements, and maybe have some homework for to practice at home so that you get better at it. And of course, we have our coaching mentoring program as well that is also strongly recommended. Okay. Slide. And then available through Coach NB, which is in person online. They also have the NCCP Make an Ethical Decision 4 hours, which is recommended. They have the NCCP Planning a Practice, the NCCP Basic Mental Skills, the NCCP Prevent and Recovery, NCCP Coaching and Leading Effectively, and the NCCP Managing Conflict. And the majority of those modules are actually geared more towards comp coach specialists and high performance coaches. Okay, slide. So going back to the Making Ethical Decisions, you do have 2 options to do this. So again, the registration and information can be found on the NCCP website, which is coach.ca. Your first option is to take the NCCP Making Ethical Decisions online or in-class training, like I mentioned earlier, and then you can proceed to your online evaluation, and you will have unlimited attempts to successfully complete this evaluation. You don't have to pay for the evaluation. It is part of your the fee that you pay for your class, your online training. Option 2 is to choose to complete the NCCP Making Ethical Decisions online evaluation without taking the training first. With this, you do have to pay an $85 fee, and you will have 2 attempts at passing the evaluation. If you don't pass after 2 attempts and you have not received a passing code of 75%, you will need to re-register through coach.ca again. Okay, slide. Step 7 is your Equestrian Canada coach status. So the coach status is required to coach during all EC sanctioned activities, including instructing, coaching, and competitions effective January 1st, 2022. So LTED streams do not have instructors coaching at shows. The LTED, is that a New Brunswick stream?
The LTEG programs that New Brunswick has run in
I
recent
see.
years has served as a bridge to take riders who are new to competition from their training home ground into a bronze show. But we've stipulated that the coaches running that program need to be comp coach or above, so that we don't have instructors coaching those new people at their first competitions.
Okay, got it. Okay, thank you. So move on to the next slide, and I'll talk about the difference between coach status and certification. There's quite a bit of confusion about what is the difference between actually becoming certified and becoming having a status as a coach through Equestrian Canada. So the coach status verifies that a series of requirements have been met by a coach to confirm in order to recognize them as active, and that is granted by EC. So basically, a coach status, you're paying a fee and you're doing some online training, and I'll go over the requirements later on, but there's some requirements you need to have. And basically what that does is that's putting you on the EC radar that you are a safe coach, and that you have met all the standards as a coach, and that you're approved through EC. So as a coach status, at no time are you being evaluated in person with your teaching skills as a coach. The certification verifies specific coaching competency. So with the certification, when you're a certified coach, that means you have been evaluated, as in a coach evaluator has gone in and they actually watched you teach a lesson, and that you have met all the requirements under that complex. The licensed coach status, so there's two, there's the licensed coach status and we have our registered coach status. The licensed coach status is for coaches that are already certified. And the registered coach status is for the coaches that are looking to become certified. So you don't have to be a certified coach in order to be a registered coach. Okay, move on to the next slide. So here's the EC coach status again. So the registered coach is required for Nccp instructor evaluation, or actually for any evaluation, you need to have a registered coach status. Once you become evaluated and you meet the requirements and become a certified coach, you can then upgrade yourself as a licensed coach. Okay. So registered coaches are self-declared coaches. So these are coaches that basically coach for a living or coach as a part-time job, but they're not certified. So they're telling EC that I do coach, I do have students, but I am not certified. Registered coaches are also established coaches working towards certification. There are certified coaches that do not wish to get licensed at this time. And they're also certified instructors or coaches that do not wish to coach at EC sanctioned competitions or deliver EC programs. So once you become certified as a coach, you do not have to become a licensed coach. If you do not want to go to any EC competitions or you don't want to deliver the programs, you can just stay as a registered coach. Okay, slide. So to become a registered coach, sorry, before I meant licensed coach, getting the words mixed up here. So as a registered coach, you need to be 16 years of age. You need to have a valid EC sport license. You need to have a level 2 screening. So that means a Canadian criminal record check. You have to have one reference letter, and that reference letter would have to be from someone that you've known, that you've been involved with the equestrian world that has seen you coach before. You have to have EC policy acknowledgement, safe sport training. So you need to do the fostering healthy environments, the concussion awareness, and you have to have emergency first aid, and you also have to have insurance. Okay, slide. The licensed coach is recognized coaches with verified expertise through formal certification, education, or validated practical experiences. Slide. So to become a licensed coach, you have to be the age of majority within your province. You have to have a valid EC sport license. You need a level 3 screening, which is both the vulnerable record check as well as a criminal record check. You need to have 2 reference letters. You have to have the safe sport training, which is the same as the register, which is the fostering healthy environments, concussion awareness, and standard first aid. You need to have your insurance, and you need to have verified expertise. So either you have to be a certified coach, or you have to have some kind of relevant education that supports the coaching, or you need to have 10 plus years of experience coaching. Okay, slide. So how much does the coach status cost? Right now, the registered coach status is $49.95. The licensed coach status is $199.95 for non-NCCP certified coaches. Excuse me. And the licensed coach status is discounted 50% for NCCP certified coaches, and that is $169.95. So if you're already certified through Equestrian Canada, then you do have the 15% discount. Okay, slide. And then coming winter 2022, we're going to have what we call the coach in training status. So this is for coaches that are working to become certified, but don't necessarily don't have all the requirements yet to become a registered coach. So coach in training can be 16 years of age. They still need their safe sport training. They must be supervised by a licensed coach. They have to complete screening disclosure form. They have to be insured by a supervising coach or show proof of insurance. And they have to hold a status of maximum of 3 years. After 3 years, then they have to move up into a registered or a licensed coach status. Okay, slide. This is the implementation of competition regulation. So this is where the coach status falls as a coach that goes to competitions. And so right now, 2022, registered coach status is required at all EC Canada sanctioned events. So anyone that is going to be coaching at an Equestrian Canada horse show that's sanctioned by EC, you have to have minimum the registered coach status. As of 2023, for platinum and gold sanctioned events, you need to have a licensed coach status. At silver and bronze sanctioned events, you can have a registered coach status. In 2024, licensed coach status required at all Equestrian Canada sanctioned events. So anyone that is going to be coaching at any EC horse show needs to have a licensed coach status. In 2025, everyone that's going to an EC horse show needs to have a licensed coach status and must be certified through Equestrian Canada. So you have to have both at that one. So again, 2022 requirements for coach status. A coach status is required to coach during all EC sanctioned activities, including instructing, coaching, and competitions affected as of January 1st, 2022. One note that the licensed coach status is required for coaches to deliver and participate in EC programs as well. So if you do not go to horse shows, but you still want to deliver some of these programs within your barn, you also need a licensed coach status. So those programs are anyone that is coaching Canadian Equestrian team. All NCCP coach developers have to have a licensed coach status. If you want to deliver the learn to ride or drive as an evaluator, you need to have one. And if you're a rookie rider instructor, then you also need to have a licensed coach status. Okay, slide. So these are the prerequisites at a glance. So again, you need your Nbea membership, you need your EC membership, you need your English Rider 6 or Pony Club C2, Western Rider 4 for instructor, or English Rider 8, Western Rider 4, and Intermediate Rider basic training for comp coach. You need a current standard first aid certificate. You need a police reference check. Note that comp coaches also need a vulnerable section check. You need a making ethical decisions online evaluation done. You must do your making headway in sport or the EC concussion training. You have to do the EC fostering healthy equestrian environments training. You have to sign the Equine or Equestrian Canada Code of Ethics and the Coaching Code of Conduct. And you need to have an EC registered coach status. Okay, so the evaluation requirements consist of 2 evaluation activities covering all the outcomes for certification. So the 2 evaluations that you have to do a portfolio evaluation and an observable evaluation. So at the instructor level, for your portfolio evaluation, you need to hand in 2 written lesson plans focused on a topic that is assigned to you by Nbea. So that is a flat lesson and an unmounted lesson. You have to have 1 lesson plan focused on a jump topic if you choose to go for instructor for jump. And then you need to have an emergency action plan for your primary facility. The comp coach portfolio, you need to have 2 written lesson plans focused on a topic that is assigned to you by the Nbea. So that is a flat lesson and an unmounted lesson. You need to have 1 lesson plan focused on a jump topic that is assigned to you by Nbea. If the applicant is working towards comp coach jump, because what is new this year is there are offering a comp coach flat as well as a comp coach jump. So you do have the option of just doing comp coach flat if you are a dressage coach. And then you need to have an emergency action plan for your primary facility as well. Comp coach specialist portfolios, you need to have 2 written lesson plans focused on a topic that is assigned to you by Nbea. You need to have an emergency action plan for your primary facility. You need to hand in 1 yearly training plan, and you need to have a detailed description of how you coach and manage the administrative aspects of your program. Okay. One thing to note is topics are assigned a minimum of 2 weeks before the evaluation. Candidates have 1 week to submit completed lesson plans to their evaluator. Although the evaluators are to evaluate and not teach, feedback will be provided to each candidate in a formal pre-brief session before the evaluation and a debriefing session after. The areas in which more practice or training is required will clearly be outlined to each candidate in the debriefing. An action plan for further training to enhance performance and or plan for the future will be provided to the candidate as well. So we do ask that the lesson plans do come in a week before the evaluation. That gives enough time for the evaluator to have some kind of communication with the coach candidate beforehand. And if there's anything missing on the lesson plan, that's the point in time where we would bring that up with them and they can make some changes before the evaluation, just so that it's a lot more successful for them. Okay, slide. So the observable evaluation, the candidate will be evaluated by in-person observation, teaching a driving or mounted lesson, including an additional jump lesson for English with jumping candidates. You have to do a lunging and an unmounted stable management lesson as well. Evaluations are typically conducted with up to 4 coach candidates at a time and run for approximately 8 hours. The host facility will provide the candidates with horses and riders for the lessons. The evaluation day will include, so you'll be teaching the lessons based on the plans that you've handed in ahead of time. You will do a lunge lesson. This does not apply for Western disciplines at the comp coach specialist level, so they don't have a lunge lesson in theirs. You would need to do a written lesson plan if you're doing the instructor context. You have to do a stable management and oral interview if you're doing the instructor context. And a comp coach specialist has to do an in-competition evaluation. And so the typical cost is at the bottom. So $300 to $350 for evaluation. And then if you want to add the jump module, it's an additional $150. Okay, slide. And okay, questions. So I know there was one question in the chat. I think it was about lesson plans.
Are there template lesson plans that are endorsed by Nbea or EC? Where can we find them?
So EC does not have any template lesson plans. If you do the plan a lesson, the Nccp plan of practice, the Equestrian Canada one, at that point in time, you actually do complete a full lesson plan within that workshop. And so that you have the training for you know what to expect and what the outcomes are for that. I'm not sure, maybe Nancy, you can answer if Nbea has any lesson plans.
We have
I've actually got, I apologize if I could just chime in. I do have lesson plans for EAP and for the instructor and comp coach, which I do share with the candidates, particularly when they sign up for the prep.
Excellent. And that's for all contexts.
Yes.
Awesome. Excellent.
Great. Any other questions, anybody? I don't have any more in the chat, so if you want to chime in verbally, we'd love to hear from you. That's always a good sign, Danielle.
Yeah, I was going to say we were that thorough.
As we did last week, while I'm waiting for more questions to come through, we posted the video of Danielle's presentation last Sunday on our website, as well as the PowerPoint that she used. And we'll do exactly the same again this week. You can find it on our website. Do you mind if I share and show where these things are found? On our website. Okay, let me just get back to sharing screen. And hopefully it'll follow me as I change from page to page. Okay, this is our homepage at nbea.ca. Under the coaching drop down, there's a ton of resources. The first tab is our coaching news. So any PD sessions or prep clinics or evaluations, anything that's coming up will be listed there, and hot links for the paperwork, registration forms, and so on will be there as well. The How to Become Certified page, I'm going to click on it. Can everyone see it?
Yes.
Okay. This is where we have Danielle's video and PowerPoint from last week on becoming certified for newcomers. And then as you scroll down, these are essentially the same steps that Danielle took us through. Everything is hot linked there. So if you're looking at something and you want to learn more about it, you can find all of those resources with a click. Compulsory courses, the optional courses, everything is there. More information on the coach status is on our website as well under this link. And the EC's coaching operations manual, which takes you through everything, is also there. Excuse me. I've caught what you have, Danielle. A little more about what's expected at each level, and some EC resources as well. If you go back to the coaching tab under resources for coaches and candidates, that's where you'll find things like possible teaching topics for instructors, lesson plan forms, and so on. So our website's pretty loaded with resources, and if you're ever looking for anything and you can't find it, drop us a line and we'll be happy to find it for you. So a new question from the chat. Does Nbea have any plans for in-person analysis performance clinics as it relates to coaches teaching and what is happening in front of them? Great question, Dawn. Nicole, what do you think? Do we have any of those in the works?
We had one some time ago. It's something that we can actually do again. I think it's the comp coach analyze performance that you're referring to, Dawn. In any event, we've done them in the past. I think we have a full slate planned for this year. we can certainly look at doing that this year, but nothing's been set in stone as of yet.
Yeah, and I might add as well, like, we're trying to use the winter months now and do that. We can, people are home that can do this e-learning, and then closer to the springtime, we can get involved with demonstrations and mentoring and prep clinics. I will give you a heads up that the Nbea plans to have a pretty good slate of things coming up in the spring and during the summer. But anything that we're going to offer, I'm going to encourage you that, well, you're going to have all your prerequisites before you're invited or able to attend. So if we're going to put on an analyzed performance, if we're going to put on how to do a lunge lesson, whatever, we need to make sure that all of your housekeeping is done prior to that. So that way we know we're dealing with people that are pretty interested in taking this next step and becoming certified or licensed or whatever word you want to use. So I really encourage you, do not fear. The Nbea will have something for all of you. We're starting right now in January, and we're going to meet with Danielle hopefully in February, March, maybe talk about lesson plans and emergency action plans. But as soon as hopefully all that snow leaves and the temperatures get nicer, we can get face to face and start helping you with analyzing performance, or how to lunge a horse, or how to lunge a rider, and get you out face to face with us as well. But I will give you a heads up. You need to start getting all your prerequisites done. Then we know that we're investing time and energy and finances to people that are really starting to, bite off more and get involved. So I really encourage you, do not fear. The Nbea will have lots of things to help you, plus actual evaluations, but you need to get your homework started now, which again, as you can see, a lot of it is sitting in front of a computer, which is unfortunate for some of us. And then come April, May, get your breeches on and let's meet at the arena or outdoors or whatever. I promise you that.
We have a hand up.
Hello there. Go ahead.
Hi again. I just had a question in terms of submitting all of our prerequisites. Are you wanting us to submit our prerequisites in one package format, or can we submit them piecemeal as they're done? Nancy, I assume you're the one collecting everything. So what do you prefer?
That job falls between Nicole and I. I don't mind you shipping anything you have my way. I have physical folders in the office, and when I get things electronically, I print them out and they go to your folder. Send them to Nicole, but CC me in. We're both keeping records and sort of double checking each other so we're not missing any pieces. But yeah, get them off your plate. No need to bundle them all up and wait.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else want to chime in verbally? Just unmute yourself and we'd love to hear from you.
We have another question in the chat from Margaret.
Excellent.
Certified and licensed now means different things. This is news to me, that teaching lessons as a certified coach is now to recognize by EC unless you are licensed. I guess that meant that it's not recognized by EC. So the intent is that those not wanting to get licensed just let certification lapse. So that is correct. If you are a certified coach, you do need to have a status. If you're not coaching at competitions and you're just coaching at home, then you can just apply for the registered status. You don't need the licensed status unless you're going down the road, unless you're going to go into competitions. And the same thing applies if you offer any of the EC programs. So if you do the Learn to Ride program as an evaluator or rookie riders, then you also have to be the licensed coach or licensed status. Does that answer your question, Margaret, or do you maybe want to give more details on what you're asking?
What I understood is that you could keep teaching and not do any rider level evaluations or coach at EC shows until 2025, and then you could get licensed. And that's not what I heard today, and that's not what I've heard from peers who are trying to renew their insurance because EC says they're no longer have a status. However, they have been certified. And my understanding was that this didn't transition until 2025. So we're all a little surprised in my part of the world anyway.
Yeah, so the in competition doesn't start till 2025. Technically, if you are a certified coach right now, and you're not doing any EC programs and you're not coaching at any horse shows, you can wait until 2025 before you actually apply for it. You just want to make sure that you keep yourself updated with all the, like you still have your first aid and you have all your professional development points.
So how do we tell the different parties getting involved, like insurance, that they need to reach out to our provincial group for certification versus to EC?
You mean,
for
how do you
license
tell
status?
your insurance company?
Yes, there's been events this week where the companies that we were insured with no longer want to insure us because we don't have EC status.
Wow, okay, so that's something totally new to me as well. I do know that the insurance company that I deal with at my facility, I have 15 coaches that coach at my facility. I have quite a large riding school here. I have 150 students a week. And some of them are what we call the coaches in training. So they're working towards a certification. And then we also have a couple that are certified coaches that are not going to be coaching at horse shows and do not run our programs, our rookie riders or our rider levels here. And both of them have gone through, all of them have gone through our insurance and have been fine and nothing's been said. I don't know if this is something new for some insurances. I know I did, Deanne, I'm not sure if you got the email I sent maybe a couple of days ago. It might be a good idea to have an insurance person come on and have a talk with these coaches about the, you know, just about insurance, like what is offered and what is it about, and where do they fall in as a certified or non-certified, or if you have a status and not status. So I'm assuming that, Margaret, this insurance company is a common one that's being used by a lot of horse people.
It's the company that we used to use, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I've never.
There's a lot of
hearing
confusion.
of it.
What company? It's not Capri. Is it Capri?
No,
No, it's Henry in this situation.
So yeah,
Oh,
I
okay.
yeah.
Henry
So I mean,
used to be the preference, and then Capri took over. I just happened to switch over, but my students and stuff used to use Henry, and I only switched to Capri because I thought they changed their name.
Oh no.
no, it used to be inner city. So all of our membership
Yeah.
has been under inner, and we've always encouraged intercity, which is now Capri, which is Mike King. And
Yeah.
any question that's ever come to the Nbea office, we've always sent them directly. Mike King will take your phone call anytime. So I'm not familiar with BF. I'm not familiar with Henry Equestrian. So we haven't encouraged our membership to go to anyone but Capri, or who used to be intercity.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Henry used to be the Ontario insurer of choice. I think they still are.
yeah, well, no, I mean, Ontario uses Capri and whatever. So
Yeah, we
again,
use
if we're going to
Capri as
bring
well.
insurance on, it's going to be who insures most of the provincial sport offices, which is Capri. So Mike King can be obviously brought in for a future discussion, but
Yeah.
yeah,
But it may not help you if you don't.
right.
Your insurance isn't under Mike King.
No, it's just a glitch in the translation from certified to license versus status versus registered versus all
Yeah,
of this. That's
I know I'm with BFL and I don't have that issue with them. They're quite aware of the certification / status that is asked for EC. Actually, they've been on several meetings with EC about it. So that they're the only ones I can talk for, because they're the only ones I've actually dealt with in that way. I don't deal with Mike King anymore. And so I'm not sure if this is a question maybe that could be followed up with your insurance company, or maybe sending an email out to the other insurance companies to see what they say about it. But
yeah, my path forward if I were at work was to do a communication with all the insurance companies so that
yes,
they understand the differences. So
yeah,
That would come from EC,
Yeah.
right? Not from NBEA.
Yeah, well, I know that BFL, both Mike King and BFL have had meetings with Equestrian Canada about this. I don't know about any other insurance company. I only know BFL personally because they told me that they had a meeting and they contacted me because all my coaches are under BFL.
Margaret,
Sorry, Margaret, I wish I could answer your question better.
Margaret, is Henry asking for either EC status or are they insisting on a license status? Will registered
what-
do?
I understand it's an EC status. They're going directly to EC.
Right,
So EC is saying you don't have a status because you're not registered or licensed, because
right,
you're choosing not to do the EC programs right now.
right.
So
So you could,
then there's a whole bunch of extra communication. So if this replicates itself, what happened this week,
right,
there's going to be hundreds potentially of communications trying to get this clarified. So the
Right.
way to change management is to have one direct communication out to the insurance companies,
well,
just
hopefully-
clarifying.
Right. Hopefully EC is aware of this and is getting their ducks in a row with all the companies concerned.
Because if you go currently online and you put in half of probably the people on this call's name that are certified, they are not a status coach. Their name does not show up on the EC list.
I think we can revisit this issue at a later point. And I think it would be helpful to have Mike King perhaps come online. I appreciate the fact that you're suggesting that a communication from EC to all the insurance companies would make sense, and I would agree with that. Whether EC decides to do that is another question. We can certainly reach out.
It's not really in EC's interest to reach out to the insurance companies and suggest that it's okay to insure people who are certified but not licensed or registered status, because they lose they don't bring people into the fold and they don't get the licensed and they don't get the registered. So I'm not really sure.
The communication the communication, whether a person is current or not, comes from EC to that insurance company. Definitely, there needs to be some kind of clarification around that.
Okay,
Okay, so maybe we'll add that to the parking lot, and then we could look maybe into the future of seeing if Mike King can come on and do a
Sure.
talk.
Yep,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah.
great.
Okay.
I think though that you're missing the point is it's not just Capri. Capri's got their stuff organized.
Yeah.
It's all the other companies, but whatever, you guys do as you wish. I'm not going to be licensed for a while here, so won't matter to me. I just keep on getting insured if I teach.
Any other questions we can address this evening from Danielle while we have her here?
There's one more in the chat. It's about the amateur status. So just want to confirm that obtaining an instructor's would be the only certification in which one could keep an amateur status. That is, though you can have any coaching contacts, you can have an amateur status, you just cannot be coaching. So I guess to me, there's really no point in getting a competition coach certification if you're not going to coach at competitions. And so that's where the amateur status falls in. So I'm not sure if your question is, can you coach at horse shows as an instructor and be an amateur? Or can you be certified under any contacts and be an amateur? If you can, is your question related to coaching at horse shows or just being certified as an amateur? I think this is Ashley. Ashley? Yeah, so Ashley, maybe you can be a little more clear as which way your question was geared towards. Maybe we've lost her.
Well, if not, then why don't you, Danielle, give us the answer to both?
Okay, I'll give you the answer to
try
both. Okay, so an instructor can be an amateur and can coach at currently and can coach at horse camps and beginner lessons. A comp coach and above cannot be making a living or making money off of coaching in any way and be an amateur. That's probably the easiest way to explain it.
Yep.
And one thing to note is the amateur status does change quite often. So always check the rule book to make sure that that hasn't changed for the next year, 2022, 2023. Oh, okay.
There she was.
Okay, so Ashley, maybe put a thumbs up if I answer your question correct. That was the answer you're looking for. Awesome. Okay, good. Thanks.
Anybody else? How long can a certified coach be inactive, specifically during this transition time?
That is actually a very good question, Margaret. I don't think there is a specific amount of time that you like. They're never going to take your coaching away if that's what you're asking. If you're a certified coach and you're not active at this current time, basically you stay with your certification. And then when you're ready to come back into the program, you would just have to do your updating professional development hours and all the training that you are missing, first aid, and then you become active again. And one thing to note too, if you're already certified as a coach in any of the contexts, the easiest way to find out where you fall with your professional development points and any missing information that you may have from your locker is to go to the coach.ca website, and you can actually access your locker from there. Once you get into your locker, it will have an outline of all the training you have done, as well as whether you are currently current, and if not, what is missing. And same with the eCampus website, you can go on there and they'll also let you know what is missing from your files.
I think my question is currently Nicole looks after making sure we're up to date. If we're not coaching and we don't have insurance and we don't have an EC license, is there a way, like our horse is retiring, that we can say we're not currently coaching, but we're still certified? So for example, if I don't want to coach until I retire, because I'm too busy working at my normal job, is there a way to keep that certification? And what I heard, I just want to clarify, is that yes, you just make sure that when you want to go back in, you do all your insurance and license and first aid and all that kind of good stuff and work with the Nbea. Is that correct?
It's correct. And I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Danielle, I think that EC is also looking at having another license status for people that want to stay current. And this is on EC's end of things. They can pay a small fee, take a break, and that
Exactly.
way it keeps their status.
Yes, yes. So there is another status they're looking at, and that's for coaches, Margaret, similar to you, where they have maybe a full-time job and they don't have the energy or the time to commit to actually coaching right now, but they do want to come back to it in the future, as well as coaches that maybe go on maternity leave or take any other breaks. And so that's what that status is going to go for. So it keeps you active as a coach, but you don't need to pay or do all the requirements that the other coach statuses need to do. They just haven't, I just saw it briefly in a PowerPoint a couple of months ago, and then the information, and then I haven't seen it since. So they haven't really brought it out like that. I don't think, have they introduced it to any of the provinces, Nicole?
No, not to my knowledge,
Yeah.
but something that they were talking about. In
Yeah.
terms of provincially, if you keep your your standard first aid current, you maintain your personal development, your criminal record check, and everything else up to date. That would be the base minimum to stay current.
Okay. But I think as we wind this session up, you know, if you're actively, for those of you that are out there teaching, and there's a lot of people teaching without any certification or technical knowledge per se, or anything on eCampus, that, you know, as our, like anything, as coaching and more of the standards become published, so, and as a criteria needed, or you should have, you just need to be mindful that you need to keep yourself protected in case anything goes wrong. And they can bring you in court and say, did you have this? Did you have this? Did you have this? And if you don't, well, then they probably could prove some negligence. So anything we just want to do is that the Nbea will promote people to use up-to-date current coaches in the province of New Brunswick. And we will list those to the people if they, again, we can provide all the information possible to our membership, and ultimately it's their decision who they would like to ride with and stable with and train with. And but our job, the provincial sport office, is to try to educate our membership in using people that are properly educated, certified, licensed, whatever. So our commitment, the Nbea's commitment, has always been to provide resources and financial stimulation to people to get involved in the coaching program. And that will continue to be a goal, and certainly a heavy goal for us in 2022, and continue to. But I've always said that until it becomes a law, mandatory, that you have to have a license to do something like teaching any kind of sport, there will be more people in the province that are teaching without any certification. And that will be, unfortunately, how it always will be. But anyway, we will continue to educate our members and educate you out there to get involved in the program, and know that we're here to assist. So going forward, maybe in February, we'll get some information from Danielle on lesson plans or emergency action plans, and we can work on this insurance dilemma as well, hear from some different brokers, and try to give people some leeway on that. I just encourage you to get insurance. All right. Don't lose your house. Don't lose anything because you went out and taught a lesson. Someone fell off and became a quadriplegic and you don't have any insurance. So I paint a bad picture, and we tend not to talk about the bad things or the cases that could happen. I just don't want people to lose their house when something goes wrong. Okay. So, and sometimes it's not our fault, but people fall off and get injured. And that's why we have insurance. So if I can just do one preach, it's just get yourself, make sure you have insurance. And if you're working at someone's barn and they say, oh yeah, you're under my policy, please ask to see it. Ask to see their policy and make sure your name is on their policy, so that in case something goes wrong, you have protection. That's all I preach, is that you have protection for sure. Don't lose your house for sure, or your mother and father's house. That happens too. Okay. So if there's no other questions for Danielle or Nicole or Cindy, any other questions out there before we wrap it up for the evening? Okay, I want to thank everyone. Danielle, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you
And
very
everyone
much.
for being active. So please start working on that checklist, start checking those things off, so that when we can see you again in April or May face to face, we can start working on a plan. So everyone, Danielle, thank you for your attendance, and look forward to seeing you all in the future.
Thank
Stay
you, guys.
safe.
Enjoy your snow.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
It's cold.
Yeah. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you, Danielle.